Now, as is with all Last of Us episodes, the fact that we aren't playing the game means that they can show things from the perspective of others. In the PlayStation counterpart, you are locked to the POV of Joel and Ellie, whereas here we can see more of David's backstory. That's how we begin as well, and we open by looking over his town, which is called Silver Lake in both the show and game. We discover David has taken it upon himself to become a holy man, and over the top of this we hear him narrating Revelation 21. His opening line discusses the new heaven and new earth, and this very much reflects the new world that they've found themselves in the midst of. The verses in this chapter talk about how there'll be no need for a physical temple in this new world because God's presence will be everywhere. We then jump to see him hitched up in Todd's steakhouse to watch him delivering a sermon. Todd's restaurant was what it was called in the game, and it's been transformed into a makeshift church. We see how people have tried to find reason in what's happened to the world, and you can totally understand why some would turn to religion. I didn't want to spoil this episode all the way back in the first entry, but it's even possible that Mrs. Adler could have foreshadowed people going like this.
Well, that's true every day, isn't it? People out there need to get right with Jesus.
We see a sign hanging up saying, "When we are in need, he shall provide," and this is playing on Philippians 4:19, which states, "God will provide for people." This sign is also pulled over to the game, and when Ellie fights David in the restaurant, we can actually see this sign hanging up at the back of the room. Now, he's had to cross a line in order to provide, but David's hidden this from the people, whereas in the game, I always kind of got the impression that the townsfolk were aware. Whereas Joel will do anything to protect Ellie, David smacks her in front of people, and they're very much surrogate fathers at opposite ends of the scale. Anyway,
I'm getting the word nonce.
Yes, David is one of them, and I think that's what made the character in the game so creepy. I think this is obviously commenting on controversy surrounding the church, and going to be difficult not to offend people, but it's definitely an important thing to address. The entire holy man thing with David is something that wasn't present in the game, and I think it adds a whole new dimension to him when he's this creepy religious figure that eats people and preys on children. At this point, we get a quick cut of his right-hand man James, and in case you don't recognise him, that's Troy Baker. He actually played Joel in the game, and Baker gave this seminal performance that I think actually helped out with a lot of the success of The Last of Us. He's a very beloved voice actor, he's played lots of different iconic characters, and I have to say that I think he completely knocked it out the park. Now, so far on the show we've had Marlene's voice actor playing her in the series, Tommy's popped up as Perry, and now Baker is playing James. All that's left is Ellie's Ashley Johnson, so I can imagine that she'll be popping up next for the finale. There are rumours about who she could be playing, but we'll not spoil that here. Should change the name to Not Much of a Spoiler, Mate, like the video. Anyway, Baker actually looks a lot like Joel does in the game, and as much as I love Pedro, I wouldn't have minded him playing him in live action too. Now, this cannibalism in the snow could be a reference to the Donner Party, who were a group of American pioneers that migrated to California from the Midwest. They got stuck in a snowy mountain range for a while and had to resort to cannibalism like what we see here. James is starting to doubt whether this is God's way, and it's possible he knows about the other stuff too. In the game, when Joel ambushes the town, you overhear some saying that David's leadership should be put to a vote again, so this sentiment was clearly felt amongst some of the other inhabitants. In the game, you didn't really encounter any of the kids here, but you did hear a woman saying that they were moving the children to a shelter. Now back with Ellie, we see she nurses Joel. The surroundings here are identical to the game, with him being on a dirty mattress with a couple of blankets to keep him warm. We get a shot similar to the game where she examines his wound, and this is something she did upon returning from David. Seeing how little food they have left, I did go back and forth over what the intention of this scene was. She does hold a snap of it for a second, and I even thought that she might be wondering whether it's worth giving it to him due to him being so close to death's door. I don't think that's what was intended, and I'm sure that the HBO podcast will probably clear this up. At this point she comes across the deer, and similar to the game, she fails to down it. We have a moment mirroring the sniper scene from episode 6, and I did appreciate how they built off the back of that. David and James come across it, and he does the typical religious preacher strategy.
Okay, all I ask is 10 seconds of your time. I just want to talk.
I won't say it twice.
Now let's see how these scenes play alongside those in the game.
I don't see anybody. You think we can just take it?
Who's there? Come out! Drop your rifles! Now!
Hello? We just want to talk.
Any sudden moves and I put one right between your eyes.
Any sudden moves, I put one right between your eyes. Ditto for Buddy Boy.
Ditto for Buddy Boy over there. What do you want?
Name's David. This here's my friend James.
We're from a larger group, women, children, and we're all very, very hungry.
We're from a larger group. Women, children. We're all very, very hungry.
So am I. Women and children, all very hungry too.
Well, even so, you can't drag this back on your own.
Well, maybe we could trade you for some of that meat there. What do you need?
We're not asking for charity. We can trade you for some of the deer. We have, what do you need? We have...
Medicine?
Weapons, ammo, clothes.
Medicine! Do you have any antibiotics?
Like for infections.
We do. Back at the camp. You're welcome to follow us
I'm
back.
not following you anywhere.
We do. Back in our village, you're welcome to follow us.
I'm not following you anywhere.
Buddy Boy can go get it. He comes back with what I need. The deer is all yours.
Buddy Boy can go get it. He comes back, you get half the deer.
Anyone else shows up,
You put one right between my eyes.
that's right.
Anyone else shows up, I put one
Put one
right.
right between my eyes.
That's right.
2 bottles of the penicillin in a syringe. Make it fast. Go on.
Bring back 2 bottles and a syringe. It's not code, James. Do as I said.
I'll take that rifle.
The tension from the scene comes from the fact that Joel is almost out of it, but he manages to get the upper hand and take down David's men. Now the death scene here is terrifying, with a lot of the struggles feeling like they're ripped right out of the game. The facial expressions especially are something that I always spin the camera around to see, and I guess we've discovered that I'm a bit of a psychopath, but please subscribe. Now back with Joel, we see as the storm rolls in and he makes his way to Salt Lake. This is a similar thing to the game, and at this point you're able to mask your movements by using the environment. Now inside a hut there, he discovers belongings and bodies hanging up, which is similar to what happens when you enter one in the game. You find Ellie's backpack, which is ripped right out of it too, and he realizes just how much trouble she's in. Now the episode in general, it reminded me a lot of the movie The Road, in which characters also come across cannibals in that. Also, it's important to bear in mind that James is comfortable doing this with a chopping board, probably because he's helped David kill people like this before. In the game, he even refers to Ellie as David's new pet, showing how he views her. And we then get Ellie's escape in another scene that's ripped right out of the game.
Wakey, wakey. Come on.
Let's go! Stop!
I warned you.
Wait! Don't do it! Please don't do it! Please don't!
You had your chance.
I'm infected! I'm infected! I'm infected!
Really?
So are you.
And now so are you.
Really?
So are you.
Roll up my sleeve. Look at it. Look at it!
Right there. Roll up my sleeve. Look at it!
I'll play along.
What'd you say?
What did you say? Everything happens for a reason, right?
Everything happens for a reason, right?
What the hell is that?
Now she would have turned by now. This isn't real.
She would have turned by now. It can't be real.
Looks pretty fucking real to me.
Looks pretty fucking real to me.
Now you might be asking whether Ellie biting someone can actually infect them, and there's a bit in the second game that clears this up. I'll talk about that in the super spoiler section. but we do kind of know the answer to it. Either way, they cut the sections down here and compress the scene so that Ellie goes immediately into the restaurant. In the game, you made your way through the town and jump back and forth between Joel and Ellie. I think it's actually smarter to handle it like this, and we see Ellie throwing a burning log which ends up setting the place on fire. In the game, as you went to escape, David grabbed you, and eventually this knocked over a lamp which then started the blaze. There's several lines from the game are pulled directly across here.
There's no way out, Ellie. The doors are locked, and I have the keys.
Nowhere to go. You want out? You're gonna have to come get these keys.
Now Ellie burning down this quote-unquote church also symbolically shows how she's burning down the facade of everything David's built. The pair battle it out with one another, and the struggle ends up being exactly like how it is in the game.
Well, let me tell you something. You have no idea what I'm capable of.
Stop! Fucking touch me!
It's me. It's me. It's me. Look. It's me.
It's me.
He tried to...
Oh, baby girl. It's okay. It's okay.
No.
It's okay. Okay. It's okay, baby girl. I got you.
During David's death, we keep the focus on Ellie, and it shows how much overkill she's giving to this wicked and evil man. Joel comforts her, and we get a really important line dropped here where he calls her baby girl. This is the same nickname that he gave to Sarah, and at this point, he's all in on this being his daughter. The pair walk off together with his arm around her, and this is a complete opposite to how they were in episode 2. After Tessa's death, Joel stormed away leaving Ellie, whereas here we see them closer than they've ever been. The pair have bonded over everything, and whereas she once was just cargo, here he's putting a coat around her to let her know everything's okay. And that closes out the episode, and we once more get a shot of the pair walking away. This is imagery that's often used in the show and game, and it stages the characters are going on the next part of their journey. And that takes us into the super spoiler section, and for the next part of the video, I want to go over some of the Easter eggs that will probably give the game away. Now the first thing I want to talk about is the interrogation technique. In part 2, Ellie also ends up using this, and we of course needed to see her actually see it for herself in order to explain how she knows this. We also discover that Silver Lake is a resort rather than just being a town. I wonder if this line was thrown to show how resorts have changed across the country, as part 2 ends with Ellie going to a resort on the hunt for Abby. This was controlled by slavers, and you can see how these holiday locations have been twisted in this new world. Now lastly is Ellie biting David. Was he infected? Was he not? We don't fully know. However, Ellie does end up kissing Dina in the second game, and at one point she also bites Abby when she's fighting her in the theatre. As we know, Abby doesn't get infected, and thus I don't think that Ellie's bite actually could infect people. The infection seems to have stopped at her arm and not made its way to her saliva glands, and thus I don't think she passes it on. So I don't think Ellie actually infected David, and either she didn't know or she used it as a weapon. Throughout the series she's been told to hide it from people, but she pulls it down in this moment to further sow doubt and confusion. This throws James off a bit, and it adds upon what he was experiencing before, allowing Ellie to escape. Anyway, that wraps up the video, and huge thank you for sticking with me until the end. Guns Mails to watch, we've got a very controversial video on screen right now. Can we forgive Abby? Definitely go head over there after this. If you're watching this part of the video, you know what I'm talking about in that spoiler section. You'd have to go head over right after this. By the way, thanks for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.